Good day. It's the 26th of March, 2020. This is the Daily Future. I'm Mark Pesce, and I'm here with my co-host, Sally Dominguez. Hello, Sally.
How's it going, Mark?
So it's come to my attention that maybe some folks listening or watching don't actually know how amazing you are. I've known you for well over 10 years because we worked on the new inventors together. You are a designer, you have patents, and of course, you have most recently been involved with Singularity University, helping organizations think exponentially, something that was much harder for people to do just a few weeks ago than it is now.
Interesting, isn't it? How quickly the majority of the population now totally understands what makes an exponential curve do that hockey stick thing.
Right. And that it's really important for people to be able to think very differently when you're thinking about exponentials. So in our last episode, we talked about the search for adjacencies, right? That in fact, businesses right now, because there has been such dramatic, let's call it exponential change in business right now, that businesses are now in a violent search for adjacencies. And this came to me in a very tangible way. This morning, I went to get my cup of coffee. Now, in Australia, as a general rule, all businesses are restricted to takeaway if they're food-based businesses, right? You can't do anything about that. That's just the way it is. But my cafe is still open. I'm still wanting to give them money every day so they can stay in business. But when I was waiting at the window to place my order, I actually saw they had some beautiful loaves of bread there. And they didn't have bread before. And I was like, well, do you have any rye? Because I happen to really like rye bread. And they said, well, no, but we can order you some and it'll be here tomorrow for you. And we'll also have fresh free-range eggs. And this was my moment. I was like, oh my goodness, my cafe is staying in business by discovering the adjacencies, because people don't want to go to a supermarket if they can avoid it right now. If we can get a couple of things that we really want, and it looks like lovely bread, and I'm sure it'll be great eggs, and I get to
Well,
patronize them. I mean, is this what we're talking about here? It's simple, but that's what we're talking about, right?
well, Mark, I have been sheltering in place for 8 days now because I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, which was the first to instigate shelter in place. Eggs are hard to come by. So I'm going to say if my local cafe was selling free range eggs, there would be a stampede. If they were selling toilet paper, there would literally be like a riot outside, but like nobody's selling that. But you're right. It's this concept of adjacent opportunities, and it runs counter to the way that so many MBAs have been told to run a business. Everybody's always been said, don't be a generalist, which I would completely argue against. Don't be a generalist, specialize, set a goal, have your ROIs, journey towards it, pinpointing your way as you go. This is no longer relevant in an era of chaos. You can't have a journey with a horizon because, Mark, now everybody understands exponential curves do not have a horizon.
No, you keep on running into the curve. You just keep on running, crashing into the curve every single
It's the roller
time.
coaster that never comes down.
Yeah.
It just keeps going. And so this is a completely different way of thinking that you and I have been talking about for a long time. But now most businesses around the world are suddenly saying, hold it, our one goal, our one specific thing isn't going to go. And we need to look for adjacent opportunities, which is what your bakery, which is what your cafe is doing, which is what everybody is doing right now, scrambling for adjacent opportunity.
So I wonder now, I got an email and a text message from 13Cabs, which is one of the big cab providers here in Australia. And they said, we'll do your touchless deliveries for you now, because people are not getting into taxis. They're probably not getting into Ubers, which
Oh
is a
boy.
whole other question, because Uber is extremely heavily leveraged and doesn't have enough money to sort of deal with the fact that basically the entire world is shutting down and people won't be getting hire cars, share cars. But the taxis are now like, wait a second, we have this vehicle fleet and we have all of these drivers. Why shouldn't we be running around and just delivering packages everywhere? And I looked at that, and this is after we'd finished recording our call. And I was like, well, if you needed confirmation about businesses trying to find adjacencies, what
Absolutely.
what else do they need to think about? Because I think in some ways it's not just enough to tell a consumer, hey, we have this opportunity to deliver for you, but it feels like they're going to need to knit some pieces together in an ecosystem around that.
Yeah, I believe so. I think it will start. I mean, again, we're a little ahead here. It's been 8 days. All our restaurants are doing takeout. Most
Yeah.
of them are doing delivery. And when the delivery person arrives, they're wearing gloves. They're often wearing a mask.
Yeah.
They'll often leave it on the front step so that you come down, you transact on Venmo, which I think you have something similar in Australia, which is basically you put it through your phone
Yeah.
and you can wave it at them. They can see the screen, off they go. So it's already morphed into the new normal. And what I think is coming next is this idea, you're seeing it already in Wuhan, you're seeing it around the place, of blue light UVC disinfection, which will mean that even those carrying cars are able to disinfect really quickly to make sure that they're not carrying any viruses. And just let me clarify, this is
Yeah.
a little bug in my hair right now, Mark,
Mm.
and that is UVC being that blue light. You know, you and I again know that
Yeah.
UVC is not the sun, but amazingly, when the word got out around the US that UV light was killing the coronavirus, immediately the rumors started spreading that you could put all your gear outside in the sun and in a couple of hours it'd all be disinfected.
Yeah, and that's not going to be as true as you want it to be. UVC is very high energy light,
UVC.
right? And
Yes,
sunlight is
yes.
UVA and B, which is not as high energy. I mean, it's still good, but it's not going to disinfect the way UV
Yeah, so I just want to
is.
clarify, I'm not talking about get a convertible, take the lid off, let the sun disinfect the interior, carry your packages. I'm talking about an actual blue light wand.
All right,
But
so
still, I think that's going to be the future.
let's think about these adjacencies for a second here. If you are an Uber, and presumably minds are very focused at Uber right now, because they do have a global brand, they have everyone's credit card. It would be kind of easy for them. How do they start to think about what business they're really in? Obviously, Uber Eats is a big part of that. And someone pointed out to me that Uber Eats may be the thing that gets them through this. But
Yeah.
what else do we need to think about delivering? You know, in America, people have Amazon to sort of rely on. We don't really have that here. And in many places, the rest of the world, you don't kind of have that here. And
Yeah,
yet,
but you may,
yeah,
sorry, you may leapfrog Amazon, in fact, because Amazon has now decentralized and has people that are like part-time Amazon drivers who can use their own cars to do final mile delivery for Amazon. So what may happen in Australia and other countries that don't already have Amazon Prime, like we lucky people do, is that if you want instant delivery, mobilize that huge fleet, that whole network of phone connected Uber drivers, taxi drivers, and everybody, and become that last mile delivery.
and the thing is that most of that kind of infrastructure, software infrastructure, is already available. I mean, Uber's built this enormous dispatching infrastructure. Most of the other companies have, so it's all cloud-based. So in that sense, rolling your own logistics network to deliver lots of things to lots of people across the country, there's not much barrier to that, is there?
There's not, and I just had a genius brainwave. Actually, I'm not sure if it's genius or not, but you'll tell me. As we were talking about leveraging software networks, I was
Yeah.
thinking about Waze, and I was
Yes.
thinking, how could Waze become a part of that? And I suddenly thought, if Waze was about people, not cars, then in this time of social isolation, you could in fact go on Waze and use it to detect where there were congestions of people
Yes.
in order to avoid that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes, and I think that we're
What
going
do
to
you think,
see
Mark?
things like that. It's a fantastic idea, and I think that we're going to see things like that to keep congestion down, or also probably help people find the best free path to get to a clinic that doesn't put them
Mhm.
near people, so that they can maintain isolation when they need it, whereas people who might not need isolation might have a different set of guidances. And that may be the way we're living for a while until we actually get to a vaccine. So it's that
Yeah.
adjacency. Is it if it's not a car that's being crowded? Is it people that's being crowded? Is this area too dense right now? What's the risk of being in this area? All of these questions are the kinds of questions that we can get technology to ask us. All right. So if we're now starting to think about adjacencies, how many businesses, almost every business is being affected by this. What does this mean for airlines? What does this mean
Mhm.
for all of the transport sector? Because all of the transport sector is being thrown up in the air. And you know what, Sally?
Well,
We're going to save that for the next episode.
oh,
Daily
choking on
Future.
the idea, but I will write it down, Mark, and it may have morphed by next time we speak. All right. Well, just stay away from everybody else in Australia, or your parks will be closed down like aisles are, and your paths will be closed down. This is a warning from California where it's all at. All right, Mark. Stay safe, mate.
Stay safe, Sally.